Okay, so Criterion C basically includes two things. The first thing you're going to include is the flat version of your ornament and then the assembled version of your ornament. The very first thing, and these are a list of steps that I would follow, but the first thing I would do is make sure that this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet and it stays within that size. So the first thing I would recommend doing is trying to just draw a square from the origin here. And I would start with let's go 8.5 and then tab, press 11 and then enter. And that gives you basically the area that you need to draw or that you can draw in. Make sure you stay in that sketch. I know mine says sketch 4, but yours is going to say sketch 1. Make sure that you stay in that sketch and then draw your simple designs. So I'm just going to draw some random designs. They don't mean anything, just to give you guys some examples on how that's going to look. And then I'll give you a little V here. Okay, so after you've drawn all your pieces, you have to extrude them in order for them to show up in the drawing. So we're going to extrude those pieces one by one. You can't do them all at the same time because they have to be new components. And you're going to see right here that it says new body. We need to drop that down to new component. And then after you do that, you can make your thicknesses whatever you need them to be. Most thicknesses and most pieces of cardboard are 0.125 inches. Press OK, and now it looks like everything went away, but there's a new component here. You can right click and rename, or just triple click. I usually just triple click. And we can call this part 1, you can call it whatever you want, tree top, whatever. Press enter and it'll change the name. In order to bring that sketch back, you press this little light bulb. This little light bulb will bring back all those sketches, and then you'll be able to extrude the other parts as well. So I'll do this V, same thing, new component, and then if you come back out 0.125, press enter, they'll stay this time. If you do make the mistake by doing this and doing 0.125 and you leave it as a new body, that's okay. It'll come up as a body over here. All you gotta do is right click and go to create components from bodies, and it'll still make that component. So just an extra step if you don't do it and drop it down originally. Last piece here, just to make sure that you guys can see it, 0.125, make that a new component, press OK. Now I have all my pieces, hypothetically, just an example. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys, actually I'm going to extend this out a little bit, and I'm going to edit. You can edit all your stuff down here. I mentioned a couple times, but if you have an extrusion here that you didn't do right, you can just go through and it'll select, click once, oh, it's this one. I can double click it, and I can extend it and change what I need to change from those pieces. So anyways, next thing after you have your sketch, all the sketches done, is you want to make it in a front view, and then you have to make sure they're extruded. You're going to File, Save As first, and you can name this, I name mine as X flat. Just make sure that you have the word flat in there. Press Save, and then you're going to go over to Design, and you're going to go to Drawing, from Design, and then you need to make sure that your sheet size is one of these two. Now it depends on if you're going landscaping or portrait mode. Totally depends on whatever you want to do. In this case, I'm just going to choose this one. Press OK. It'll take a second. It'll go into a drawing file. A couple things you need to make sure you do here is make sure, first and foremost, is that you make this into a 1-to-1 ratio. You need to make it to the size that you actually created it in, and then just click anywhere for the time being. Press OK. You want this to not have an infill, you just want it to be just lines. You click on the title block, press delete. Click on the border, you press delete. And you click once, drag the gray square, which is the centerpiece, click again, and it'll go into your drawing file. After you're done with all those pieces, you can then go to drop down and output it as a PDF. You'll see here it says open PDF. You can do whatever you want, press OK. It'll then give you the option to save that wherever you want it to. In this case, let's call it, I don't know, Xmas flat, and then I'll save that just in my downloads, it's fine. But this is what you're going to turn in, the very first thing. This is the first thing you're going to turn into Google Classroom. So this is part of Criteria C, you need to turn that first piece. The second thing you need to turn into is going to be your assembly. So after you have your flat piece, then you need to create the assembly. So obviously I'm not going to assemble anything, but for the nutshell, you would go into the Rubik's Cube in order to start a new file. You're going to select that flat, right click, go to copy, and then you are going to press copy. Make sure after you press that copy you click the new file, right click, press rename. You can rename this one assembly. Press enter, don't just click off. And now you're going to open that assembly, and this allows you to put your pieces together so that if you screwed something up when you do the laser engraving, you can modify your pieces later, and then you can fix your assembly whenever you want. So the last thing I need to show you is inside of your piece here. If you click a new sketch onto this, I'm just going to show for an example. I'm going to draw this square, press stop sketch, and then I'm going to extrude this piece up, just as an example. And instead of join, a lot of you guys were joining these pieces together. Instead of join, you want to create this as a fully new component. That'll allow you to connect these pieces and move them around. Press OK. Now this piece is a whole new piece. Now I'm going to join those pieces together and show you guys how to animate those. So you go to Assemble, you go to Joint, capture the position, find that node on the bottom, find the node on the top, and in this case you're going to see a sliding position. Now in real world these aren't going to go through each other. So you press OK, and I'm going to show you guys how to create context sets that will allow these pieces to act as if they would in the real world. First step is you got to make sure that the one part at least is grounded. So you right click on that component in this case, press ground, capture position, and now when I move this piece it'll act as if it's a real world, but it's still going through the part. So the new stuff: assemble, enable context sets. Within context sets you're going to right click and create a new context set. What context sets do are basically create pieces that hit each other as if they were in the real world. I'm just going to click everything, all your parts, it's easier. Press OK. Right click on the context sets again, enable all contacts, and then as you see here, when I push this piece down it will not go into the other piece, and these other pieces will act as if they were in the real world, hitting each other and moving each other, and that'll allow you guys to see if your pieces go together the way that they're supposed to. And that's it.